reached out and asked if you had read the indictment. You said you read it word for word, page for page, right?
I did. I keep up. I love Jackson.
Even though they've not been in court and they've not been found guilty, it's just an indictment at this point.
They don't see it. My first statement was, think about your family. Think about your family. Put your family first.
I never thought in a million years we would have been put in the situation that we were in. Never. Because we went through our whole career doing the right thing.
It's utterly ridiculous to me. Utterly ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to tonight's edition of the Othor Cain Show. I'm Othor Cain. Glad to have you here on a Thursday. We are in countdown mode to Election Day. But I'm telling you, if I don't get past these allergies and sinuses, I just don't know that I'm going to make it. Oh, my God, it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. But glad to have you here. We really do appreciate it. Listen, I just want to give big shouts out to a couple of people tonight as we begin the show. Shirley Hampton, thank you. Thank you. We appreciate your donation. On Tuesday, thank you so much. Janet Samuel, thank you, thank you, thank you. We certainly do appreciate you. Jackie Amos, thank you, classmate. Certainly do appreciate you as well. And Yvonne Thompson, thank you, sir. We certainly do appreciate every dime, every nickel. It absolutely helps. And I am grateful, extremely appreciative of your support. I don't take it lightly. Don't take it for granted. I am telling you, it really helps us do what we do, right? It really helps us do what we do. And our goal is to expand, right? Our goal is to really become a statewide network of information dissemination. It's needed in our community. And everybody that I have a conversation with, they talk about the need. Well, we've got to be able to support and sustain our efforts in order to meet the need, right? We've got to be able to sustain support to meet the need. So I certainly do appreciate every gift, every seed sown into this, what I consider to be my ministry. So I certainly do appreciate that. Again, our goal is to go statewide. Nettie, my friend, how are you? Tamika, how are you? And so our goal is to go statewide. We want to be able to bring news and information from every corner of the state. From every corner of the state, we want to be able to bring news and information. We want to be able to go live, at different places, different events. And so we're building this network. We're absolutely building this network. And here's what I believe. I believe that the state supports Mississippi Public Radio, Mississippi Public Broadcasting. They support Super Talk and all of that. We need to put some pressure on the state to support our endeavors as well. Honestly, there isn't a place or space where African Americans across the state can tune into one central location to really get the necessary information that's needed to make informed decisions. And so, hey, can't beat them, Jordan, right? And so we've got to take our efforts and take what we do to them. So again, thank you. If you have not donated, please feel free to do that. If you desire to continue to support our efforts, please do it. You can cash app us at $ Othor Cain. We are extremely, extremely, extremely grateful. All right. So thank you very much. Again, we're on our little wine fast, but next week, we're going to show you some wines that we brought back from the wine festival in Destin. And the festival was everything. I mean, it was really everything. But we'll share some of those wines with you on next week, which is kind of, I guess, drying out. I guess that's what you call it, baby. I don't know. But anyway, just to giving ourselves a little break. But the wine festival was everything. It was absolutely everything, and I can't wait to share a bottle or two or three or four with you next week when we pick back up our unwind segment. So listen, we are just a couple of days, just a few days away from election, right? From this runoff election, and I guess everybody's in a frenzy, right? Everybody is in a frenzy over this election. Some folks still don't know what they're going to do. For the most part, people do know what they're going to do by now. I think people know. I think people know. You know, I will tell you that this election has probably been the nastiest I've seen, and I've seen some nasty elections, but this one has been where folk are just beating up on folk, and not even the candidates, you know, just beating up on surrogates and supporters and all of that, and it's just interesting, and it's interesting. Here's what I would tell you though. Um, some people will return to normal after Tuesday, and then some will return to normal after the election, the general election in June. You know, and for me, and I can only speak for me. There are some spaces that I won't return to. Right, there are some relationships that I won't mend, and I make no apologies for that. None whatsoever. I make absolutely no apologies. Hey, Orlando, I make absolutely no apologies from that. Carol from Chattanooga, thank you for being here. But I make no apologies for that. Some spaces I won't return to, some relationships I won't return to, um, and it is, and honestly, it is not because of political differences. It's not. It's not because of political differences because I can handle that. I can handle that with ease and with comfort and with class, right? I can handle that. So it's not political differences as to why I'm not returning to some spaces, some friendships. It's because I understand who you are at your very core, not just your political beliefs, right? Not just your political thoughts, your political um, alignment, and none of that. It's because, and I thank you, but it is because you've shown me who you are at your very core, right? And I'm good with it, right? I'm absolutely good with it. So some folk will return to some sense of normalcy. Um, and I guess I will, but just not in all spaces, and I am okay with that. And so I would tell you one of the things that I want to talk about um, is endorsements. You know, and honestly, as a candidate, it feels good to have endorsements um, from people. You know, however you can get them, it feels good, and it for some can signal, oh my God, this person is supporting him. Maybe I need to give this person another look, right? Maybe I need to check this person out. So that feels good, and that's a good thing. And I think every candidate clamors for endorsements, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with endorsements. But here's what I know for sure: endorsements don't vote. But I won't, and I hope our producer has the letter. I sent a letter. I sent Bennie Thompson's letter to her so that we could show that letter and kind of dissect it tonight because I want you to understand that. Oh, and I probably can't read it from there, so I'm gonna but leave it up for sure. Um, I want you to understand that even Congressman Thompson had the same concern that we have. And so when you hear these folks say there's nothing to give away, and somebody said, I've read a post, somebody said Bennie Thompson ignored the giveaway thing, and so should you. He wasn't fooled. On the contrary, my friends, on the contrary, he understands our position. And so in this letter dated April 16, he says, Dear Jacksonians, I have represented parts of Jackson both as a congressman and county supervisor, and I've worked with mayors from Del Danks to Chokwe Lumumba Sr. and Chokwe Entar Lumumba, the current mayor. All right, given the many challenges facing Jackson, I'm convinced that John Horhn is better suited to handle these challenges. He goes on to say, during lengthy talks with John, he shared his vision for the city of Jackson about crime, public safety, urban blight, housing, economic development, and transportation. He is 100%. Listen to this, and this is why you know our concerns are real. And while Congressman Thompson may be convinced that Senator Horhn is opposed to this, I am not. But he shares our concern. He shares our concern. So he says, this is Congressman Thompson talking about Horhn. He says he is 100% opposed to the state's hostile takeover actions of the Jackson Medgar Wiley Evers International Airport. People can say anything to get support, right? People can say anything to get support, but at least they had the conversation, which also should tell you that our conversations have not been in vain. They're not lies, and they are also not rhetoric, right? It's not rhetoric. Congressman Thompson had the same concern about John Horhn. Nobody feels comfortable that John won't turn the city over to the state and just get rid of everything. Nobody is comfortable. So Thompson and Horhn had to have the conversation. So those folks that are saying or trying to dismiss our concerns that they're trivial or they're lies, you know, come on, man, please. Come on, man. Come on, man. Everybody knows it's true. And that's where I am. It's a level of trust that I don't have for John Horhn. James says, Chokwe didn't have a plan for the federal water money. Remind you of anyone concepts of a plan? No, those two things are not connected. I get your reference. I certainly get your reference. I remember the conversation clearly when it was happening in real time. So no, it certainly does not remind me of Trump in terms of having a concept of a plan. It doesn't remind me of that at all. I think what you have to really peel back when you, if you really want to talk about that, I think what you have to peel back is the gravity of the situation as it was happening, the direction that we were going, and there's an influx of a possibility of an influx of all of this money, and so you do have to create plans in order to draw this money down. The city developed a plan, but perhaps maybe the plan wasn't developed when Congressman Thompson wanted. I certainly remember that conversation, but connecting that to Trump and concepts of a plan, absolutely unfair. Absolutely unfair. No connection. Doesn't remind me of Trump at all. Would I have wanted a deeper plan at that particular time? Yes, but I understand when you're in leadership, you've got to consider every single thing. And just because somebody wants you to turn a plan on a dime, realistically, you cannot do that, right? Because there's so many things to consider, right? So many things to consider because you're in the middle of a crisis situation. And that's what we were going through then. We were in the middle of a crisis situation. Trump's concept of a plan was just obsolete, just ignorant, dumbfounded. And so that's a total misrepresentation and unfair comparison. But I'm glad you raised that point, because if we are honest, one of the main reasons, and I want to be very, very clear. I want to be very, very clear. One of the main reasons that I am supporting Chokwe Entar Lumumba is because of the unfair blame and unfair rap that he has received during this election cycle. Let me tell you something. I 100% believe and understand and know that Chokwe Antar Lumumba isn't perfect. Totally understand that. I have been one of his loudest, most vocal critics. But for me, it's about calling a spade a spade. It's about holding people accountable, and it's about really being honest. I'm seeing these posts. This man is under federal indictment. What more do you want? Do you need any other reason to vote against him? Here's my issue, and here's why I am supporting him 100%. Because you cannot dump all of our issues in Jackson under this federal indictment that's hovering over Mayor Lumumba's head. You cannot do that. That's unfair. Our issues didn't start or begin with that indictment, right? Our issues in Jackson didn't begin with that. And certainly our issues in Jackson won't end with that. And I thought that it was extremely unfair for everybody to attempt to dump or lump everything under this federal indictment. And that's what happened, on that show that I appeared on with Russ. That's what happened. That's what he wanted to do. And I just wouldn't allow that. I wouldn't stand for that, because that's extremely unfair. If you want to deal with the shortcomings as a mayor, deal with those, right? Let's talk about James Davis as a police chief. That was a dismal failure. Talk about it, call him out on it, deal with that. But it is absolutely unfair to try and dump everything under this federal indictment. And Martin, I'm with you. This indictment is a strategic move as a smear campaign. A large part of me believe that. Another piece that was unfair when I fell out, and this is where I will never return to the mansion. Will never eat there again. Will never support Stephen O'Neill again or any of his cronies. When I fell out is with him is after the St. Patrick's Day parade. A few hours after the St. Patrick's Day parade, the shooting that happened. And Stephen said, I hope Lumumba is proud of his radical city. And he tried to lay blame at Lumumba's feet with that shooting. Just ignorant at best, right? Just ignorant at best. Just ignorant at best, right? Francis, so I really do think that you are misreading this, right? I think you're misreading that. Get real. The Biden Department of Justice indicted Lumumba as a strategic move. Nobody's talking about that, right? Nobody's talking about that. We're talking about trickling down on a lower level and how they're using that as a campaign smear tactic. That's what we're talking about, right? That's what we're talking about, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah, Martin, I don't think he wants to go toe to toe because he's talking about Biden's Justice Department. We're talking about how Northeast Jackson folk, who, by the way, are somewhat disturbed because they don't really like Bennie Thompson, who, by the way, are somewhat disturbed that Bennie is endorsing John Horhn. Even Clay Edwards goes, maybe I should show my support elsewhere when that endorsement came down. It's all laughable to me, right? It's all laughable to me. What I know for sure, endorsements don't vote. We have the power. We have the power. The power is in our hands, right? But I wanted to point that out, that even Congressman Thompson senses that there's an issue with John. The indictment may speak for itself, but it has nothing to do with him being mayor, sir. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. The indictments, certainly it's not the beginning of Jackson's problems, right? Our problems in this city didn't start with the indictment. Our problems in this city will not end with the indictments or after the indictments, right? The problems in Jackson won't end. But support who you will, just be honest, right? Just be honest, right? And the indictments has absolutely nothing to do with his ability to be mayor of this city. And yes, I do believe timing is everything. I believe timing is absolutely everything. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. Um, um, uh, Absolutely nothing, Francis. And bring it on, brother. We can go toe to toe all night because I got time tonight. It absolutely does not. It was related to a business deal to be made in Jackson. Now, that's a reach. That's a reach at best. That's a reach at best. Because here's what I understand. The mayor took that money as a campaign donation. I can't wait until he's able to really talk about it and break it down. I can't wait until he's really able to talk about it, right? No, it wasn't related to a business deal in Jackson. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I want us to be very clear and very honest here. That 32-page indictment is just a snapshot, right? One of the reasons they pushed this thing back, pushed it back, and pushed it back, and pushed it back is because, here's what I know from very skilled attorneys. Here's what I know for sure. Pushing it back and going through every shred of evidence gives them an opportunity to say, this is not real. We can toss this out. This is not real. Or we can toss this out, right? Come on, man. Come on. And Roger, I can go there with you too. So bring it on. Timing is everything, like the paving of some roads close to election. And maybe for some that is the case. I was in an Uber the other day, and the Uber driver was talking about the paving on Beasley Road and Hanging Moss, and they said the same thing. Oh, it's election time, and now they're paving the roads. First of all, you got to know what you're talking about. That paving has nothing to do with the city. Representative Justice Gibbs, right, who is not up for re-election, is responsible for that paving. So if you're going to call that out in a general sense, I think you need to be specific, because the paving that's happening there has absolutely nothing to do with the elections, right? I'm not saying that all the pavement is the same, right? And so one can question that. But if you're going to call it out, be specific and be fair, because that pavement has absolutely zero to do with Lumumba's re-election, right? That's absolutely zero to do with it. And sometimes I think that we say things because we hear things, right? We hear people saying things, and we're so quick to just jump on board, right? We're just so quick to jump on board. Support who you want to support, like who you want to like. That's fine, but just be honest, right? Just be honest, right? Just be honest. Francis says, why has he not filled 2 civil service commissioner seats? Employees need their services. They've not been able to meet since January. That's a great question. I have no answer for that. He would certainly have to answer that. I won't even begin to touch that because I just don't know. I would say off the top, maybe that's not a priority right now. I know that's important to you, Francis. I know the work that you do, right? So I know that's important to you, right? But everybody else's priority may not necessarily be his. And sometimes you have to look at things in totality and say, okay, where does this lie? Or where does it fall? Or how do I rank this? But I know what you do, and I know why it's important to you. That may not necessarily be a priority at this time. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, good or bad, right? I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying everybody's priority does not necessarily match the mayor's. Not all, right? That's all I'm saying. But I can't answer that question at all. I'm not familiar in that space at all. But Don, to your point, you're right. Everybody becomes an expert. Everybody has a lot to say about nothing, right? Right. And I know it's important to city employees, but again, that's a Lumumba question, not for me, and he's not on to talk about that. So we can move past that. But again, I stand by this. That may not be his priority right now. That just may not be his priority right now, and I get that. Right, and I get that. I get that. You know what's interesting, Don, when you said that these same folk vet Trump's 34 indictment charges and convictions before, and they won't, and they won't, and they don't want to talk about that. You're right, and you know a lot of these Trump supporters, these Northeast Jackson Republican Trump supporters, are all of a sudden in sync and in tune with this black Democrat that's running. Right, right. Come on, man. Come on. We see straight through the smoke screen. Straight through it. Straight through it. Trump's indictment didn't matter, right? Grabbing women by the, okay, so I'm just gonna stop answering or entertaining Francis on that point, right? Because I didn't say that, and you're not gonna put words in my mouth. I know what you do for a living, sir, and you're not gonna bring that here. I know what you do. I know why it's important to you. I know how you get paid. All right. So don't go there with me. Not that. Right. Right. Um, but Trump is not in jail. And Francis, I didn't see you raising that concern before, right? I didn't see you doing that before, right? I did not. Sean says, so Othor Cain, in your honest opinion, do you think the city of Jackson would be better off with Lumumba at the helm for another 4 years? I absolutely do. And that is my honest opinion. And if you're late to the party, you've not heard me say that, come on. Come on. Come on. I absolutely do. Because for me, it's trust. For me, it's trust. For me, it is absolutely trust. I trust that Lumumba will fight for Jackson. I trust that Lumumba will not cave in based on demands. I trust that Lumumba is concerned about all of Jackson and not just a part of Jackson. I trust that Lumumba will do the right thing for Jackson when the cameras are off. I trust that Lumumba will do the right thing for Jackson when he's the only one in the room cheering for Jackson. I trust that. John Horhn has been a part of this Jackson delegation and this anti-Jackson sentiment at the Capitol for 32 years. Somebody say to me what John Horhn has done for Jackson. Not tourism dollars, nothing, right? Not state projects. I'm talking about Jackson. I'm talking about Jackson. I'm talking about Jackson. Francis, you can't really respect my voice if you can't spell my name, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Support who you want to support. But let's be real. Let's call a spade, man. Come on. Come on. Come on. Let's talk records. Let's compare records to Jackson. Jackson and Jackson. Lumumba Horn, Jackson and Jackson. Let's compare that. Let's talk records. Let's do that. 32 years as a senator. Where's the bacon he brought home for Jackson? So yes, I do think Jackson will be better off with Chokwe Antar Lumumba at the helm. I absolutely do. I absolutely do. But whatever happens Tuesday, we're going to be right here raising our voices and standing on issues. We're going to be right here. We're going to be right here. Nobody can tell me, nobody can bring the record, right? Nobody. Nobody. Nobody can bring me a record of what Horhn has done for Jackson. Nobody. 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 And again, Lumumba has fumbled. He's fumbled in that seat. Absolutely. Right? He's fumbled in that seat. It's not been perfect, but come on. What did Lumumba do for Trump before he was mayor? I I get your message, Barney, but I don't understand that one. I get your message, man, but I don't understand that one. What did Lumumba do for Trump before he was mayor? I don't get it. I don't get that. Francis, no sweat, brother. No sweat. That was just a joke, man. I answer to anything that begins with an O, right? No sweat. No sweat at all. No hard feelings. None whatsoever, my friend. None whatsoever. Fox, talk to me. He drunk. Who's drunk? Oh, Barney. Or he's still waiting on you. Or he's still waiting on you to pick him up to go fishing, man. No, he's waiting for you to pick him up to go fishing. Absolutely. But listen, Tuesday is important, right? Tuesday is very, very, very important. I mean, what did he do was just, what you said, man, you are drunk. What are you saying? I mean, what did he do was Jack. Come on, man. You might be drunk for real. Come on, man. I told you about that. Come on, man. Right? But honestly, Tuesday is important. And the power is in your hands, right? The power is in your hands. No matter how many commercials we've seen, no matter how many ads, right? Fox got its phone. No matter how many commercials, no matter how many ads, no matter how many endorsements, at the end of the day, on Tuesday, the power is in your hands. And so we get to determine, right? We get to determine what happens. We get to determine what happens, we do. Partner, I hope you're not driving. You talk about DEI. It might be a DUI based on based on how you're responding. Ron Brown says, "Why are businesses continually leaving Jackson? Arby's on Highway 80 boarded up. Let's be real. Call it spade. Jackson is in desperate need of leadership. There is a famous quote: "Leadership matters," and leadership absolutely matters, right? Leadership absolutely matters. But let's talk about that. Why is Arby's boarded up? Right? Why? I don't know what you're trying to say, man. I'm good, right? I'm good, but come on, man, I ain't that good. Leadership absolutely matters, but you see a building boarded up. Do you think all of that falls at the feet of the mayor? Do you think that it will be unboarded? I know who you support, Marty. Do you think it will be unboarded come June, when the general election has passed? I think that if you're going to call out something, right, you got to talk about it in its totality. You got to talk about businesses drying up on Highway 80 and get to the root of it. The demise of the Metro Center. It's not the mayor's fault. Businesses leaving. It's not the mayor's fault. Not in its totality. Demographics change, right? Demographics change, right? Shopping habits change, right? People move differently. Hell, if I don't have to go on Highway 80, I try to avoid it at all costs. I don't blame that on the mayor because I avoid going to Highway 80. I blame that on the environment, the times that we're living in. Hell, pretty soon, I'm gonna stop going to North Park Mall because of the culture and the times we're living in. Sylvester, no, I doubt that I will be on site Tuesday. I doubt it, but I'm not going to rule it out. I doubt it at this point, but I'm not going to rule that out. I'm not going to rule that out. You know, and let's be honest, Antar is not running just against John Horn, right? He's not running just against John Horn. He's running against the media because media has been extremely unfair to him. He's running against the media. He's running against money. He's running against a whole lot of things. He's not running just against John Horn. So if you want to be fair, let's be fair, right? And if you want to unpack something, I'm more than willing to do that because I love information, right? I love information. So if you call it out, let's talk about the root cause of the problem, and let's just not talk from a surface level, right? Let's not just talk about issues from a surface level. Let's get to the root of it, right? But you got to be honest, right? We've got to be honest, right? We've got to be honest. That's right. I mean, businesses have left the outlet mall in Pearl, right? Businesses have left Renaissance on Highland Colony, right? Business models change. People leave. People buying habits change. And so you can't lay that solely at the mayor's feet. That's asinine and it's unfair, right? It's asinine and it's unfair. You're right, Don, running against the government. Antar is running against all of these things, right? All of these things and all of these people, right? And so if you're going to highlight an issue, if you're going to highlight an issue, let's not talk about it, just on a surface level. Dig deep, dig deep, dig deep, right? You know, Jackson is a majority Black city. Let's talk about this for a minute. Jackson is a majority Black city, right? Majority Black city. So you ask yourselves, with the shift in demographics over the last 25, 30 years, right? With the shift in demographics, why this resurgence, right? Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's be honest. Lena said, sadly, people like what is new. So even the most dynamic leadership in older cities, even older suburbs, people are fickle. Brandon folk often brag about leaving the old Kroger to go to the new one in Flowood. Businesses change, people change, right? Shopping trends and habits change. Come on, man. Come on. And get this. And so I guess at the end of the day, we all, if we're honest, at the end of the day, we all probably have personal reasons why we're supporting one over the other. And I get it. We all have probably personal reasons, personal connections as to why we support, yeah, Barney, you became a Black Republican because why? Right? right? So we all have personal reasons, right? We all have our individual personal reason as to why we're supporting one over the other. And guess what? That is fine. That is fine. That is fine. That is fine. Freeman says we're about to see major developments from downtown Jackson to 5 miles out. They had to move Shaquille Lumumba out the way. The boys out of California are coming in strong. 3 to 5 years. You're not going to know Jackson. Now, my advice is to buy as much property and hold. Brad, it's interesting to me that we think Jackson is going to change overnight if we change leadership. There's a reason Madison is like it is. Longevity serves a great purpose. Longevity has its perks. There's a reason, Barney says Mitch Boken. There's a reason Madison looks the way it looks. Longevity has its purpose, right? It serves, but we want to change out. We get angry, when somebody looked at me the wrong way, or they didn't move fast enough, or they didn't do this, and we want to flip the script. And we want to flip the script. And we want to flip the script. We want to flip the script. He didn't speak to me. I called. He didn't return a call. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. We got to do better. We've got to do better than what we are doing in Jackson. Got to do better than what we are doing in Jackson. Fox says, I'm voting for God, brother. That's the only one who can help my city, And God works through earthen vessels. So I'm down with that, and I support that 100%. I support that 100%. God works through earthen vessels, though. He absolutely works through earthen vessels. Jackson is at such a disadvantage with this white Republican leadership in Jackson, right? And white Republicans from all across the state want to have input into what happens in Jackson. They want Jackson back, right? And that's why you see them buying up a lot of property. We can talk about all of these white Republicans and white wealthy folk who are buying property around Jackson State, buying property downtown. We can talk about that because they want to see something different, right? Come on, man. Come on. If the leadership at the Capitol wanted Jackson to be better, it matters not who the mayor is. It helps, but it shouldn't matter. Right? Come on. Come on. If the leadership wanted Jackson to be better, they could invest. For instance, I'm so sick of your comment on federal indictment, brother. Give it a rest already, please. Give it a rest already. Before, be honest, man, and stop hiding behind federal indictment. That's old, that's boring, that's tired. Before the man was indicted, let's go back to 94, when Harvey Johnson became the first African American mayor in Jackson. The trend started going down. White folks started leaving. They withdrew. They didn't just now stop giving the city money because Antar is under an indictment. That argument is old. That argument is old and it is tired. The state leadership pulled away from Jackson a long time ago. And this is why I vehemently support Antar, because just like you, Francis, everybody of your ilk is trying to dump Jackson's problems and ills under this indictment. And you just can't do it. You just can't do it. Why is Brett Favre, Phil Bryant not in jail? And why is Tate Reeves still governor and he has not been indicted? Come on, man. Come on. Come on. The state pulled away from Jackson long before a federal indictment came into play. So let's just be honest about that. Let's be honest about that. Let's just be honest. The state pulled away from Jackson or started divesting from Jackson when Harvey Johnson became the city's first Black mayor. Right? All right. But if you want to waste your time, Francis, and continue to talk about the indictment, you do you. I'll ignore all of your comments going forward if it's about the indictment, because that's an old, tired argument for me right now. Because that's an old, tired argument for me at this point, because that has nothing to do with what's going on in the city. Nothing. Has nothing to do with our infrastructure problems, our crime problems, our water problems. The state wanted to take the airport. Ask him, man. I'm not him. You ask him what his plan is. Don't ask me. He's not here to defend himself. So you're wasting your time, right? Ask him. Call him. You want his number? The state started divesting from Jackson in 1994 when Harvey Johnson became mayor. And for me, Harvey Johnson is the gold standard of African-American mayors in Jackson. Gold standard. It's a race thing, man. It's a race thing. And y'all just don't want to say that. Y'all just don't want to say that. That's part of why we are in the shape that we are in. It's because of the racial makeup of the city's leadership. And white folk want no part of it. Yep. You know what I'll say? His plan is the indictment. Hell, you don't know John's plan. What are you doing? Do you even live in Jackson? I mean, while we're talking, Francis, do you even live in Jackson? I don't know. What's John's plan? Right? The mayor has been on here repeatedly talking about his plan. I don't have to regurgitate that for you. Because you know why? Because you simply want to hide behind the indictment. You're hell bent on that. That's who you are. That's what you want to do. And that's fine. Marty, you know who is y'all. White folk, you know them. Come on, man. Come on. Mama Perkins, it's fine. I think that's what makes the world such an awesome place, right? I think that's what makes the world such an awesome place. We don't have to agree, and I think for us, we understand how to disagree without being disagreeable. We understand how to disagree without falling out, right? I support Antar 100%. I'm not gonna fall out with you if your support is different. But where I draw the line is when folk lay blame, proving my point. Proving my point. Thank you, Francis. You're proving. I didn't think you lived in Jackson. And to me, that's part of the problem. To me, that's the part of the problem. Folk that don't live here want to dictate and have a say in terms of what happens here. And I get you pay taxes in Jackson and it's Hines County. I figured you couldn't vote. But that's par for the course. That's typical. That's typical. That's typical. And I get that. But I'll end the conversation because you can't even vote here. So yeah. So That's not true. That's unfair. I don't live there because the cops cannot do their jobs without getting fired and indicted. That's a lie. That's a lie. That's a complete and utter lie. Right? That's a complete and utter lie. There are incidents, there are incidents where cops have got unfairly indicted, and we all know my buds are on here now. Should have never ever happened. Pissed about that still, pissed, angry about that. Should have never happened, right? Isolated cases. That's not a blueprint. That's not a guide. Isolated incidents. It's not a blueprint, and it's not a guide. It's not a blueprint, it's not a guide, and it's not a standard. Isolated incidents. Even more than them. Isolated. It's not a standard, it's not a blueprint, and it's not the everyday operation of that department. So to dump it, and this is why I support Lumumba, because what y'all are doing, y'all want to dump everything under this one umbrella and say all of this lays at his feet. That's unfair. That's unfair. That's unfair. That's unfair. That's unfair. But you can't even vote. So why am I getting all emotional with the conversation with you? Because you can't even vote, right? Can't even vote. Yes, it is. It's isolated. It is. 7 is isolated. That's not the standard. That's not the norm. That's not the expectation. Right? It's not the standard. It's not the norm. It's not the expectation. While it did happen, it's not the standard. It's not the norm. And it's not the expectation. Right? It's not. It's not. Not at all. Not at all. But at any rate, Tuesday is just a few days away. The one good thing about my being happy and glad when Tuesday has come and gone is that we can change the conversation for a while anyway. You probably pay a hell of a lot more taxes than I do, Francis, but I can vote and you can't. I've ridden with JPD many of times. I have a close relationship with JPD, and I have had for years. And all those folks that you represent, that's not the experience of everybody in that department. And I think it is absolutely disingenuous for you to attempt to lump it all into the same basket. Brother, I like you. I like what you did for Fox and Barney. I like that you're ride or die with them. But their experience, Barney's experience, Fox's experience, and Lampley, their experience is not the sum total of the Jackson Police Department, my brother. So goodbye. That's why they leave. Good riddance. So good. Blame it on me and not the mayor. Blame it on me and not the mayor. Right? Blame it on me and not the mayor. And that attitude is why business people are leaving Jackson. Good riddance. See ya. See ya. Brother Thomas, how are you, my man? Good riddance, right? But the interesting thing about that comment, though, the interesting thing about that comment is blame it on me. Let me shoulder the blame. Then if they're leaving because of my attitude, let me shoulder the blame and stop blaming the mayor. They're leaving because they can't control. They won't control. That's why Northeast Jackson Republicans are supporting John Horhn. They won't control again. They won't power again. And they know that he's their do boy. He will deliver for them. Yep, they know that. They know that. Again, And we're going to end on this note, right? Because this is exhausting. Francis says, although the cops there now have a fear that the next call they answer could land them in prison. It's happened since Fox and Barney, and now the AG is doing that. That is not everybody's experience at the Jackson Police Department, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Now, Barney, I'm going to delete you on that one, all right? That is not the sum total of every cop's experience in Jackson, and it's unfair to do that. Let me help you out. You slam me, and I choose to spend money there. You cheer me leaving. I cannot understand it. I didn't cheer you leaving. You said businesses were leaving. Is your business leaving? I didn't cheer you. Don't do that. Don't do that. I slam you because of your unfair characterization of the mayor and your unfair characterization, or I should say your general statements, right? Your statements are so general, and you want to lump everybody. You don't speak for Jackson Police Department. You don't know that that's the experience of every cop that works at the Jackson Police Department. But you speak as if you're some kind of authority at JPD, as if you have the ear of every single officer at JPD, and you do not. And so to make those general comments like that, to give the illusion that it's happening to everybody, it's unfair, my man, and you know it. But you're always a slit. I get it, you slit. And I know where you make your bread and butter. I get it. Right? I get it. And you want those checks to continue and probably go up a little higher. But don't speak as if you're some kind of authority on the full culture of the Jackson Police Department, because you are not. Because you don't represent everybody at the police department, my friend. Again, to be clear, your support, your work, all of that around Fox and Barney, it's applaudable. I commend you. Kudos to you. But let's be very clear. Let's be very, very clear. What you represent, the clients that you represent, it's not the sum total of the Jackson Police Department. I make more money with Lumumba in office. Well, maybe you should want him to stay. Are your pockets going to dry up when John, if John is elected? Are your pockets going to dry up if John is elected? Is the AG going to drop her lawsuits if John is elected? Will those cops who called out, will they no longer fear if John is elected? Give me a break, man. Give me a break. Give me a break. Y'all, let's be real. It's 8:59. Let's be real. We'll close with this. Let's be real. And let's be candid. Let's be real and let's be candid. Vote for who you want to vote for. Right? That's the first thing. Vote for whoever you want to vote for. As for me, Chokwe Antar Lumumba has my vote. Because I trust him. I trust him to do the right thing for Jackson. That's it. That's where I stand. That's where I stand. I trust him. I trust him to do right for Jackson. Come on, Francis. Francis, you're rather go broke and have a better Jackson. Come on, man. Come on. No, thank you for being here tonight, for real, brother. Thank you for being here. And I love varying opinions. I love it. I love the banter, brother. I really do appreciate you. Chokwe Antar Lumumba has my vote because I trust him. I trust him to do right by Jackson. I trust him. The citizens are a priority for him. I trust that. All citizens, all parts of Jackson. I trust that. I trust that. I trust that. My vote Tuesday is a vote based on trust. Hopefully, some of y'all can return to normal. Won't be normal for me with a whole lot of people. Nah, bro, no offense. No offense at all. No offense at all. You know that better than anybody, man. No offense at all. No offense. I got to get out of here. Thank y'all. Appreciate the engagement. Great conversation. We'll see you again on Tuesday, Election Day. Go vote!
We know he's gotten things done for Jackson.
Mayor Lumumba has a national profile, which it gives him the ability to do what he did when Jackson was facing the major water crisis.
He got something done. He got close to $1 billion from the federal government to do something that hasn't been done in decades.
He is literally in the best position to help lives, change lives, transform his community for the better, and improve the quality of life.
Mayor Lumumba has been a very consistent person, somebody who is very clearly loves the community that he serves, very clearly loves the people who he serves. He is carrying the needs of Jackson with him.
You have to have a mayor that's going to show up for the people, and Chokwe Lumumba shows up for the people every time.
Vote for my man, stop playing.
And so our goal, it's Father's Day weekend. It's that Saturday, right? Our goal is to get in, have some good workshops, get a good lunch and an etiquette session at lunch, right? If we can grab hold of one young man, and if we can partner this young man with an adult male, right? We believe this day will be transformative because we believe this relationship can build and last. All it takes is one. All it takes is one. It takes absolutely just one. And so we need your support. We need your support. We need your support on recommending young men for this.